What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, I had to do a quick take on this Conor McGregor Logan Paul exhibition boxing match that is supposedly taking place next year, 2025, in India, of all places. There is a very, very wealthy family there in India called the Ambani family, and apparently they are the ones that are putting the funding behind this. At first, being a true fight sports fan, MMA, boxing, that sort of thing, I obviously had that cringe moment of like, oh, no, he's not going to do an exhibition. He was supposed to fight Michael Chandler last year in the octagon. Come on, man, what's happening? And then I kind of saw it as the end for Conor, beginning of the end is a better way to put that. But then I was on the treadmill this morning. A lot comes to me when I'm on the treadmill. I do some really good thinking when I'm on the treadmill. And I was thinking this morning, and I thought, actually, I think this is a good move. Good move for Conor. And let me explain. So, for one thing, it's something positive for Conor right now, right? I mean, on the heels of this sexual assault civil case, on the heels of losing pretty much every one of his sponsors, having to turn around and pay for the legal fees of Nikita Han, who he lost the civil case to, right? And he's supposed to appear back in court in January for his former friend and teammate, Artem Lobov, where he's suing him because he supposedly didn't get what Conor promised him when he sold the Proper 12 whiskey empire. Okay, so his legal troubles are not over. All right. Given all of that, I think that it's just something, anything positive that can kind of start to turn this ship around for Conor, right? Because I do honestly feel like this has been a rock bottom sort of era for him. And you got to think of this in terms of movies, you know? And Muhammad Ali back in the day, there were people that loved him, there were people that hated him. But one thing was true, he was such a polarizing figure that whether people hated him and whether people loved him all meant that they were talking about him, okay? And one thing you cannot deny is that Conor McGregor is the kind of guy that they will be making movies about him years from now. Okay? I, as an MMA fan, given that Conor was the first ever mega superstar, will be watching that movie. Okay? I want this to be a Rocky movie, not where he starts to head downhill and then continues to head downhill and then eventually just kind of either dies or fades off into obscurity. No, we don't want that. You don't want that. Anyone who was ever a fan of Connor doesn't want that. You want this movie to end with some inspiration. You want this to be like a freaking Rocky movie where something happens that flips a switch in Connor's mind and then he begins to turn things around. Okay? This could be that moment. Let's get real. Everything that's been happening for Conor recently has been no bueno. Okay? And at least this is something in a positive direction. Okay? Now, let's talk about the fact that it's an exhibition. Again, on the treadmill, a lot of clarity comes to me. When you suffer, you be surprised. You start to get some clarity on things. And I realize that no, 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 no. This is good. This is a good thing. Okay? Because when Connor got back in there with Dustin for the second and the third time a couple of years back, I think a lot of us saw that the UFC is not a sport that you can just step away from for a few years, kind of do your thing in other places. No big deal. I'll just pop back in whenever I feel like it. Just give, maybe 8 week, 12-week training camp and I'm good. Doesn't matter. I'm back in there. I'm up to par. I'm where I was before and I'm ready to go. No, doesn't work that way. You had Dustin Poirier, who, while Conor was out making his business empires, building Proper 12, boxing Floyd Mayweather, then horsing around for a little while there, coming back fighting Habib once, horsing around for another year and a half, then coming back and fighting Cowboy Cerrone, and then messing around for a few more years. Dustin Poirier was fighting three, sometimes even four times a year, consistently training every day, every day, every day. By the time Conor returned, Dustin Poirier was a grizzled veteran, okay? And that showed when they fought, all right? And I started thinking, you know what? It's too early for Conor to step back into the UFC. Okay? And at least this is giving him a step in the direction of competition, which is good, but it's an exhibition with boxing gloves. And this isn't a situation where he's going to go in there and get seriously hurt or annihilated or break his leg in half like he did in the Dustin Poirier fight, right? But it does get him switched on, turned around, back heading in the direction of positive outlets, where he came from, combat sports, right? I think this is a good first step for him. Not to mention, this is obviously being put on by one of the wealthiest families in India. So I'm sure he's going to make quite a bit of cheddar as well because they don't give a shit over there whether he was held liable for some sexual assault. They could care less. They could care less, right? And so I think it's a good place for him to start. I think he's going to make some money, which is obviously good for him. And it's just a diversion from all the negativity that has been synonymous with the name Conor McGregor recently. Okay? Now, real quick, let's talk about the fight itself. Obviously, Conor is a significantly smaller man than Logan Paul. Logan Paul, something like 6'2", walks around at 220. Conor is no more than 5'9" on a good day, and he may walk around at 185, 190. Some speculate that, if he's kind of juiced up on something, he might walk around a little closer to, 195, 200. But listen, I mean, I'm not juiced up, guys, but I'm 6 foot tall, close to 6'1". I walk around about 195, right? But I'm a good 3, almost 4 inches taller than Conor. Okay. Granted, he's more muscled, but with that said, it's hard for a guy who walks around at 5'9" to just naturally walk around at 200 pounds. So I would be shocked to find out that he's walking around at 200 pounds, maybe 190, 195. Either way, thinking about where they're going to meet in the middle and what weight they will fight at, that I'm not 100% sure about. Okay. I'm guessing maybe they can do like you know, maybe a 195, 200 sort of weigh in for Logan Paul. And then maybe Conor just weighs in a little under. Because if he's training and he's in training camp and he's sparring and actually doing cardio and getting ready for the boxing match like he's supposed to be doing, you know, it's very doubtful to me that he'll be able to weigh in at 195, 200 pounds. If he's 195, 200 pounds, to me, that means he's probably not training regularly, which that's not a good sign. If he's training regularly, burning a lot of calories, getting ready for this boxing match like he should, then I'm guessing he's going to be walking around, 185, somewhere around in there. I imagine by the time they step in there, there's probably going to be about a 15, 20 pound difference in the two, maybe more. Okay. As far as the skill level, so I believe that Conor is a better striker and probably a better boxer too. And he showed when he got in the Floyd Mayweather fight. Granted, Some people think Floyd was carrying him. Maybe he was. But even outside of that, as far as how he looked in the ring, you know, it wasn't that bad for a guy that's coming out of MMA. You got to give him credit for that. So I think he would be the better boxer. I think he would definitely land more, and land more clean shots than Logan Paul, despite Logan Paul being kind of a taller, bigger guy. Um, he knows how to slip and counter. He's really good at that. So it's an exhibition match. So I don't even know if they really have a winner or a loser. They're probably just going to go out there and, pitter patter for a little bit, and the fans are going to have a good time watching it, and then that's going to be it. I don't mind it. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that this is probably actually a good move for Conor right now. Just something to kind of get that ship starting to turn around, starting to head back north. It's been heading south for a while. You want to slowly right that ship, and you want to make that turn slowly but surely, get it heading back in the right direction. Conor needs that right now. He needs this outlet right now. He needs something positive to look at, to look forward to, a goal to set his eyes on, and he needs to go out there and focus on achieving that goal. I get that it's just an exhibition. I get that it's not going on anyone's record and all that. But Conor and Logan Paul both are egomaniacs who I can guarantee you neither one of them is going to want to go in there looking like a fool. Okay? So if even their egos alone are brought into question or brought into play here, then I guarantee you they're both going to try to look the best they can, which means trying to train and prepare the best they can. Okay, so if I know either one of these guys, I mean, they might not be going in there to knock each other's heads off, but each of them is going in there to try to look better than the other guy. I can assure you of that. Okay, despite it being an exhibition. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good move. I don't mind it. I don't mind it for Conor, because the last thing I want to see is him to go in the UFC and end up getting himself hurt or badly hurt, and then his legacy is just completely at that point. We don't want to see that. I don't know if he'll ever actually fight again. I think it might be one of those things where his sunset clause comes before he ever gets back in there, and I think he may even be at a place where he could work that out with the UFC. I think the UFC would really honestly probably give Conor whatever he wants. He has played such an integral part in helping the UFC to become as big as it is. I mean, there's been other people along the way, but if you can give one person in history the most credit for what they've done for the brand UFC, that has to be Conor, right? I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So I think at the end of the day, the UFC will kind of give Conor what he wants. If he decides to never really come back and fight in the UFC, I think they will make that happen for him, and I don't think there will be any contract issues or disputes in making that happen for him. But either way, I do see kind of Dana and Conor doing business together. If not now, in the future for sure, because Conor's definitely a businessman as well. But hey, good move for him, I think. I like it. I don't mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing him get back in there and just do any sort of competition like that. So I'm all for it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like the video if you would, and subscribe to the channel. I will see you on the next one. All right, guys. Peace.